all received emails. On the question of EVAC on this, EVAC is a countywide service. So there, it's been stated, and I'm not saying it's true, I just want to have a discussion. You think you know where I'm going to go with this, George, is that EVAC is a countywide service. However, it's the MSD paying for the fire fund where the tax increases go. So how do we handle that when EVAC is used in the municipalities?
Okay, well, in the municipalities, remember EVAC is funded primarily by the fees they collect for service. And by the way, be very timely because I think we're up at the next meeting. You'll be getting the EVAC mini budget, and we'll be discussing their issues. So I'd like, without kind of going too deep into that, I would just say that they're paid by service, and the vast majority of their operational budget, just all of it pretty much, is in those pay as you go. The people who take the ride, either the insurance company, Medicare, Medicaid, pays. What we'll get into is the issue of well, not everyone pays the bill.
Correct.
And so we'll talk about that and further what happens. I think with the confusion and what where some of the discussion gets into, and it goes back also with the pilot program that we'll be talking about. I mean, the idea really is that the fire transporting in a rural area like we have set up, or in Edgewater or Ponce Inlet, is an enhancement to that area. And that was what was decided and discussed here. And the idea being that so the program, if they make a transport and they fill out the paperwork properly and it goes in and we get paid, then that money flows back either to Edgewater, to Ponce Inlet, or to our fire department, depending on the agency that did the transport. I think the issue that they're talking about is, well, what happens when they don't get paid? So there's not a, so in that case, you would say, well, the city of Edgewater or the city of Ponce Inlet is paid for that transport. If they didn't get paid by Medicare, by the insurance, or what have you, and the same would apply here, that the fire rescue fund, would be the person who would eat that cost.
And I guess that's the question, if we're looking at raising the millage in the MSD, are they subsidizing the shortfall for EVAC? And we'll get into that in the mini budget.
Let me answer that. I can make that clear. They're not, and I'll tell you why. Here's the difference. The only way our people transport in the unincorporated area is we made a choice. And we made a choice by saying we're not adding people, we're using the people that would be there, that would be at the fire station. So in other words, instead of being at the fire station, not fighting a fire, not doing anything, we made a choice to let them transport. And this was a decision of the council, and it was a good decision, only in the rural areas where they're far enough out that EVAC would have taken enough time. But we're not incurring additional expense because we're not adding anybody. What we did was we decided that we would take a greater risk on fire because there is very little risk. We take a greater risk on fire because the greater risk was for the patient. So, and that does not apply generally in the cities because of the way EVAC works and because of the density. So we're really not costing the system anything. You're using those people because they're available. That's the big. You know what the big difference was? Was that we bought a unit that you can do both with, and they get enough income, generally speaking, from the people that do pay, that the only additional cost, to a certain degree, would be some additional fuel costs if we weren't running the vehicle, and they clearly get enough money in to pay that fuel cost.
Okay, and we'll discuss that further during the EVAC.
Yeah, I think
But it's a good question.
It's a great question, and it's going to really, you'll see in the next, when we do the presentation of the issues in transport in general, and the massive amount of work that the load is in. And we're going to be